The new Boruto 2 Blue Vortex Chapter 4 is finally here and many of my predictions have come true, more about that in a moment. A new race is introduced, the God race or Divine Tree race, known in Japanese as Shinju. The most shocking thing is definitely the fact that Sasuke is basically dead even though he's technically still alive. However, it's unknown if he can be saved and if so, how much time he has left. So let's talk about it. First of all, I would like to start by mentioning all the predictions that came true every time a new chapter drops. I think it's a nice tradition to get all the new viewers on the same page with our community. So here are the predictions we made. Boruto refuses absolutely all Otsutsuki powers. I will explain this point more in a moment.
Another one.
And also the possibility that if those are artificial frogs, that Boruto's second master would be Koji.
Another one.
And that Code will be offered to join Boruto.
Another one.
Furthermore, we predicted that due to Code's modification and the way God trees work, it was inevitable that those creatures would result. I called them White Zetsus, obviously I couldn't know the real name or race, but the direction and formula I used was correct nonetheless.
Another one.
Then also one of the older theories that Boruto will take a lot of inspiration from Minato, which was hinted at the end of part 1.
Another one.
And of course, one of the recent predictions I made that Boruto knows about the mini-god trees because one of them attacked him and Sasuke. The new chapter begins with Code thinking about Boruto's words. The 10 Tails is no longer what it used to be, because of Code's modification. As I have mentioned in my previous videos, the only modification Code did was dividing them and giving each of the resulting claw grimes a little bit of Shibai's DNA. Hence, Shibai's DNA must be responsible for this sudden transformation. Through this modification and the fact that the mini-god trees absorb humans, the same process occurred that created White Zetsu, but instead of giving them all yin chakra directly, the 10 Tails monsters took the yin chakra from humans, giving life to this new creation. All I had to do was apply a formula I derived from Naruto regarding how White Zetsu received life. But why do I believe they have received Shibai's DNA? Well, because I believe that only through Shibai, or Otsutskis in general, could the transformation have taken place. But only if you would infuse DNA, not feed them. This is because it seems both races seem to have some sort of past or connection. And because of how the black bands are created, that is by mixing blood and chakra, Code essentially literally mixed Shibai's blood into the god tree, which adapted accordingly. There's a lot to talk about. I will definitely make another video tomorrow about the new god race, where I will dive much deeper. Anyway, we see Boruto then teleporting to the Otsutsuki dimension, but to my surprise he didn't use Shinjutsu or the dojutsus that he must have inherited from Momoshiki because of his karma. Well, it's not really to my surprise because I predicted that he would refuse to even open his eye, no matter what danger is in front of him. But I did not expect that he would go so far as to even learn one of the most difficult techniques just to avoid using space-time Shinjutsus, even if the world is about to end. He probably does this because of Kawaki, proving that he's still human. And so Boruto uses Flying Thunder God technique, invented by Tobirama and perfected by Minato. I mean, look, here we have a full-fledged Otsutsuki using ninjutsu to teleport. It's ridiculous. Every single Otsutsuki so far was able to teleport using Shinjutsu, especially to their main dimension for Earth. There's not a single Otsutsuki who couldn't do that if they knew where the dimension was. I mean, even Jigen could do that. So either there's a very good reason why Boruto can't use Momoshiki's powers, not even flying, which of course could be possible, or he simply refuses it. There's no in between, it's either this or that. And I personally believe he simply doesn't want, which is the theme of this series. Not only does Boruto reject ninja technology, but also Shinjutsu. He is a shinobi. But it doesn't change the fact that after the Otsutsukification was complete, Boruto didn't have to learn or master Momoshiki's techniques. Kawaki has proven that even someone who never even learned chakra control can instantly use Shinjutsu. It's like an extension of their life itself, similar to simply moving a finger. So if Boruto rejects Momoshiki's powers but can't stop the manifestation, then logically he would hide it, by for example closing his eye or wearing a glove. Now I know some don't like the idea of Boruto having a Rinnegan on his palm, But seriously, what are you expecting happens to a vessel who received the karma? That's literally the point. They become the Otsutsuki whom the karma belongs to. Momoshiki's standard form has a Rinnegan on his palm. The only way Boruto would manifest the Rinnegan is if the remaining 18% that Momoshiki used to revive Boruto were actually the ones who would have manifested the Rinnegan on his palm. Some even mentioned that it would be unnecessary. Listen, I get it. You may not like the idea for whatever reasons. But that's not the point. It's not about whether it makes sense or not, but rather that this is literally what the karma does. By refusing to accept that Boruto is a genetic copy of Momoshiki, you refuse the definition of karma. Long story short, Boruto as a full-fledged Otsutsuki shouldn't have a problem teleporting to other dimensions, but he refuses to use Shinjutsu or Momoshiki is somehow responsible. Anyway, upon arriving, instead of fighting, both Code and Boruto are confused because the Ten Tails disappeared. And so they found out that Boruto is too late, and then immediately the new race appeared, all of which adapted to the body of the God Tree's victim alongside their abilities. However, it's also possible that they will have something like a shared organism, that is, every single God Tree that absorbs a human will contribute to all the abilities and knowledge of all those Shinjus, which is the name of the race. Which is why, for example, they might have manifested the Rinnegan, which they didn't have when they were created. But as I've predicted, one of them has already attacked Sasuke and Boruto, and to my surprise actually consumed Sasuke. And so they all adapted to the most intriguing ability Sasuke had, the Rinnegan. We gotta understand that although Sasuke lost the Rinnegan, the essence that manifested the Rinnegan to begin with was still part of his body. He just didn't have the eye anymore, and now this might have served as the essence for the Shinju's Rinnegan. You can imagine why that's so problematic, because essentially by absorbing Sasuke, they all became as strong as Sasuke on top of their power level at that time. Just imagine what will happen if they absorb all of Konoha. It's over. Furthermore, it's noticeable that they have knowledge of all things that the people they absorbed also had. So they are no longer dumb because they are now aware of their own existence, or as described, they now have an ego, and will become more intelligent with every new victim. This is also very dangerous. Then Boruto releases Zuhiko and asks Code to join forces, which highlights the danger. But of course, Code simply disappears. However, this plotline will develop further, so maybe Code will really switch sides as I've predicted. He didn't really do anything that can't be redeemed, so he can be forgiven at this point. Keep in mind, Sasuke did as much damage back in the days, and Code is way too focused on Boruto to harm anyone on purpose at this point. The assault on Konoha was also only because of Boruto, and whatever he did to the Ten Tails isn't really his fault. I mean, it is, but he's just dumb. He didn't even realize that if he didn't stop, he couldn't sacrifice Boruto anymore. And then more and more of these Shinjus appear. One of them made it seem that they are not only the ones the mini-god trees absorb, but also everyone who died on the planet, which is maybe why this one looks a little bit like Jigen. It's interesting how every one of them basically seem to have the same memory, and so although they speak for themselves, it looks like they all speak as the same person. But more to that tomorrow. The scene switches back to Konoha. Nothing new was revealed, but it looks like the focus is shifting from seeing Boruto as an enemy to possible other intentions he might have. Sarada doesn't even hide the fact that Kawaki is responsible, and Shikamaru is acting as if he's not understanding what is happening here. Of course, in essence, it seems as if Boruto is the enemy, but keep in mind, the moment Shikamaru makes it seem as if he believes Sarada, he will disappear just like Naruto, even if Kawaki is not around because of Ada. At the end of the scene, he says that when his mission is complete, he will disappear, meaning he will free Naruto and probably just go wherever. Nothing new. They conclude that they will support Boruto and defeat Code. Obviously, that's not going to happen. They reach the point where they need Code more than anyone else aside from Boruto. They just don't know yet. Back to Boruto, who decides to retreat, and the Shinju confirm that although they still have the urge to consume an Otsutsuki, their urge to gather knowledge and power is greater, which is why they let him live. As I said, more tomorrow. At the end of the chapter, we see Boruto, Sasuke's tree, and his master Koji. Last time I told you if that will happen, then it's likely that the prophecy about the blue-eyed boy was never about Jiraiya and Naruto, but Koji and Boruto. Koji tells Boruto that he almost destroyed the planet, probably because of Uzuhiko, which is pretty insane. But most of all, what all this really means is that either Boruto is being played by Amado because Koji is controlled by Amado, or Amado is playing Koji and Boruto. Or Amado's actually good, which I doubt. He might not be evil, but he's certainly pursuing egotistic reasons. Or he's both good and evil. Evil because he's responsible and good because of damage control. But essentially everything is his fault, so how can we really trust Koji in that regard? But that's also topic for another video. So what do you think of this new Boruto chapter? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this review, then please leave a like, it really helps me a lot. And if you want to see more Boruto content, as I said, the real analysis will begin tomorrow. Subscribe to this channel with the notification bell activated for more videos. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.